Hello, beautiful souls. Let's chat a little bit about addictions, which we all have. Yay, being human. I have one to sugar, for instance. That one's really challenging. A lot of us have them to our phones, but drugs, sex, alcohol, power. I mean, you name it, we've got it. Somebody's got it. And someone who's one of the things that I do in life is help people create habits, meditation habits. I realized pretty quickly that habits and addictions are basically the same thing, only a habit is something we like, and an addiction is something we don't like, right? And you can argue that addictions often are unhealthy and all this kind of stuff, whereas habits are often healthy. They might help us uh, um, eat better, or anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So, if you're working with an addiction, like my sugar addiction, one of the things to think about is what do you get from your addiction? Like for me, yeah, I get a cookie. Yay. And I also get an emotional sense, an emotional satisfaction, or could also be a physical satisfaction or a mental satisfaction. But there's something I'm getting when I follow through with that addiction, when I eat the cookie. Yay. Um, there's something that I get from that action. So that's really important to feel into. Like imagine you're doing your addiction. Like, what's the feeling you get? Is it a physical sensation, an emotional sensation, a mental high? Like, what is it? And it might be all those things. And feel into that and understand that the reason that you have this addiction, the reason you keep doing this thing, or at least one of them, is to get that feeling, to be in that state, right? To have that mental, emotional, physical experience. And if you're trying to stop that addiction or change that addiction or reduce that addiction, then one of the things you need to do is figure out how can you give yourself that state, that mental, emotional, physical, whatever it is. In my case, it's feeling loved, it's feeling hugged, it's feeling, warm and beautiful inside. How can I give myself that state in a different way? Because if I just stop eating sugar, if you just stop doing whatever it is you're doing, okay, that's fine. I can not eat the cookie and I'm still going to crave that feeling. So I need to I need to replace it with something else. Hopefully a habit that's healthy. Maybe I go hug my husband, or I find a dog to love, or right, something that gives me this feeling of love and joy and comfort and warmth and hug and all of these things. Yeah? So this is the key to changing your addiction, to stopping your addiction, is to change that by first figuring out what's it giving you, and then go replace that with something healthy. Like get that same state from something healthy so that you shift your addiction into a habit, your unhealthy thing into a healthy thing. Go hug your dog. Make sure your dog is into it. Like, he's always available. You're not waking him up every 5 seconds. Whatever. Your dog will probably love it. But this is really big, and I see people wanting to break addictions, and like they do all these things to like, they don't buy their cigarettes, they leave them, whatever, and they break down quickly. Like every time I'm trying to stop sugar, if I'm not replacing it with that thing, I will go through this cycle over and over and over and over. It's never ending until I figure out what the replacement is, and I do that. Right? What's the state I want? And I do that. So that's it. Again, it's figure out what is your addiction giving you? What state are you getting, mental, emotional, physical, energetic, are you getting from that thing? What can you replace it with that's healthy, that gives you that same state? I hope that helps. Your dog's going to love you. Take care.